But really what took place was they hijacked our country, hijacked our economy at a time when we were vulnerable. And that's what they'll do every time. When we are vulnerable, like right now, let's talk about this conspiracy in Iran. We're vulnerable. People are scared. They're worried. Is this the optimal time to start talking about attacking Iran? Of course it is, according to Dianne Feinstein yesterday on Fox. Of course it is, according to those war hawks in Congress, Buck McCune from California as well. These guys want war. They feel like it helps them gain their popularity, control, they get reelected. We need to talk about these issues as a country. For example, I'll give you another example. These predator drones right now that are killing people. We have not talked about it as a country. Do we like robots killing people from 14,000 miles away? I mean, I personally don't like it, and I personally think there's a lot of people in this country that go, wait a minute, you mean we use robots to kill people 14,000 miles away?
Would you rather use people to do it?
Yes. I don't want them to do it at all. But I think to extrajudicial murder is murder. And I don't feel like, I think that if you accuse somebody of something, they deserve their day in court. They should be, and it's very easy to apprehend these criminals. If they really want to apprehend, they can't. No, it's much easier to just kill them with a robot.
So who are these criminals you're speaking of then?
What they call criminals, that's who they're saying are murdered. Although the murders sometimes take out whole wedding parties or bystanders or just anybody. They're indiscriminate murders. And they're murders with weaponry that can be available to every country in the world. Everybody's going to
be available?
Can. Everybody's going to want Predator drones. Saudi Arabia wants Predator drones. One of the most restrictive, human rights violating countries in the world, Saudi Arabia. And we're selling them Predator drones. Even not us, we're not selling them. Companies are selling them. We're representing them to sell them. We're giving them, you can do that.
Who's selling them and what companies?
General Atomics is one of the biggest manufacturers of Predator drones and Reaper drones.
So who do you plan on supporting the next presidential election?
No one.
No one?
Not at this point. No one's come up that's...
So you just won't vote?
Oh no, I always vote. I might vote Cynthia McKinney or some...
Lesser party candidate?
Yeah, if there's no person to vote, then yeah, I guess I would have to not vote. At this point, I'm not going to give my vote to Barack Obama just because I don't want a Republican. I don't think that's the way we should vote. I think that's been a mistake we've been doing all along. And we need to start cherishing our vote.
So no Republicans then?
No Republicans?
Is that what you said?
No, I say I wouldn't give my vote to Barack Obama.
Okay.
Just to get not have a Republican.
Okay.
That's not going to be my reason anymore, if it ever was, really. I'm not that kind of voter, but that's not the way we should vote.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, who do you think will win the next election?
I have no idea. It's very tight. I have no idea. But I don't think that the next election is going to mean anything to this country. I don't care if it's Rick Perry or Barack Obama. It's not going to mean a damn thing to us, right here, on the ground, doing the day in, day out work that make this country great. The thing that's going to make this country great again is when people rise up and they say, enough is enough. We're not going to just sit idly by while you destroy our country and sign trade deals with Korea, Colombia, which was a major human rights violator. More union trade workers have been killed, organizers in Colombia, than any country in the world. And we're signing trade agreements with these guys.
Okay.
It's a mistake.
So what actually made you want to come out here and say, today I'm going to stand out here, or how long have you been out here?
I've been out here from the beginning. I actually started over in person. We've been planning this event for 6 months. I also am an activist often here in D.C. and in Los Angeles. That's another reason why I'm here. I'm over 50. Work is very limited right now in Los Angeles in the film industry,
Are you
television.
employed?
No, I'm not. at this point, and I haven't been employed for a while. I'm not collecting unemployment. The problem is they're telling me now I'm over 50. I could be unemployable, even though I've put in almost 20 years in the film and television industry. I'm a union member. But when there's no work and you got a choice between a 20-something who makes less than me or hiring me, and now we've been out of work so long, everybody's scratching for work, they're going to choose somebody else. They're going to choose a person who wants less. Right?
Okay. So, what are your views of like the economy in general? Would you say socialist or anything like that?
I mean, you could call it socialist. We're a socialist country. Anybody who calls it not a socialist country, even under Reagan, is a socialist country,
Okay.
because we provide safety nets. I mean, if you want to call it a pure capitalist, laissez-faire economy, we just haven't had it.
No.
And thank God we haven't had it. We need structure in this country. We need to help in organizing how we're going to live as a community.
So you think it's a socialist country with capitalist rule?
Yes, and I think the capitalist rule has taken more and more control on this socialist country.
Do you see a conflict right there between like this? You just saying it's a socialist country, but it's, however, it's ruled by capitalists. Do you think that's just kind of conflict with what you just said, though?
No.
No.
No, I mean, we have social programs that provide a social safety net, so we're a socialist country. If we were a pure laissez-faire capitalist system, it would be just be chaos here. We need, it's like Rachel Maddow when she goes on the MSNBC commercial, I don't know if you've seen it, where she said, who built the Hoover Dam? I mean, no corporation's going to go out there and build the Hoover Dam. It's just far too expensive, far too massive of a project, especially in 1950. To build this thing, we need government involvement, and we got government involvement. And anybody who thinks that this is a capitalist, laissez-faire economy is nuts, and they don't know what they're talking about. So really what we need is we need to stop these corporate capitalists, the oligarchy, the corporatocracy.
Oligarchy. That's what you call it?
Yeah. We need to stop this corporatocracy from destroying our country for their own benefits. And now I'm not blaming them, because we've put laws in there through the Supreme Court that says your whole mission as a corporation is to increase the value of the stock. So when they do that, they say, shit, if I have to pollute the river, pollute the river. If I have to kill trade unionists in Colombia, so be it. That's what I got to do. So we need to have regulations. We need to stop this corporations are people bullshit. I mean, that's just plain bullshit. Corporations are not people, and they should not be trusted. If they are people, then they should be put in jail when they commit fines or felonies, which these corporations, if you today were able to go to Goldman Sachs, open their books, they would all be in jail. But we can't. We can't go in there and see what the story is because they're a private person. We don't have the right to go in unless we have, a reasonable cause. And so there it is.
But they're a public company with financial statements and balance sheets and notes.
They're
Give reports. Do you ever go through that?
absolutely, but do they manipulate their books? Absolutely. I've known this since the 70s, man. I knew it at Ford Motor Company when I was growing up in Detroit. I knew an accountant there. He said, dude, all we would do is we'd say our projected earnings are $200 million next quarter. Well, we only made $150 million. Therefore, we lost $50 million. And that's how it went. People would say, oh, you lost $50 million. Ford loses $50 million. They got to make up for it. Go to the unions. Unions, you got to give up your optometrist visits that you get for your children. Okay, we'll give it up because you lost $50 million. This has been going on for a long, long time. It didn't happen in 2008. It didn't happen in 2000 when Bush was elected, and it didn't happen when Reagan was elected. It's been going on for a long time. We really need to grab control.
So you think corporations are trying to take power from the unions and trying to limit it?
It's their job. I mean, they'll admit that. I mean, they might say, we really like unions, we support unions, but come on, it's in their charter that they must get the best deal from workers, and unions are not the best deal for them.
Okay. So when you said the U.S. was like oligarchy earlier. Are you familiar with the Soviet Union and how when that turned to Russian Federation, they were controlled by oligarchy. It was a few men controlled probably 50% of the Russian economy. This was 5 people.
Yes.
Do you think of the U.S. as being like that with just say the top 1%, like the top 1%, like even less than that, you say how many people do you think are actually the ones in this oligarchy, and who would that be? Do you think?
I don't think it's any. I can't name a person because I don't have that kind of information. We could get that information, but I think it's corporations. I think it's big money in politics, big money in writing our laws. I mean, if you've ever heard of ALEC, it's an organization that writes legislation, hands it to the Republican Party, and they go straight into the House of Representatives and propose it. I mean, there's no filter there. It's not even filtered through the people.
What do you think of guys like George Soros?
I think anybody, my personal opinion, now this is just me, okay? My personal opinion is anybody who's got $40 billion and yet sees children, 40% of child poverty rise in this country, it's a sin.
You guys get away with $1 billion today.
I don't care. You know what? Even if they give away, I just see that these guys, they all need to pay their fair share of taxes. They need to stop acting like greed is their motivation. We need real philanthropists in this country, like in the old days.
What about like Bill Gates?
Bill Gates again. Guy comes off. He says, "I have $50 billion. I'm not giving any to my sons. I'll give it to my children. I'm going to donate everything." You know, I was in Gaza. There's a Bill and Melinda Gates park in Gaza Strip. I mean, I wouldn't even want my children playing in that thing. I think it's some of it is good, some of it is phony. I think that what's that?
Phony?
Phony.
Why
Like
is that?
we gave money to Gaza. Well, go look at the park. And I would, like I said, I wouldn't even want my kids playing in that park. And let me say, and Bill and Melinda Gates, for their benefit, is that it's at least a park in Gaza.
I wouldn't criticize it that much, considering that that's a war-torn, ravaged area. There's not much for kids to do there besides playing rubble from bombs.
I agree with you.
That could be seen in a different light as an option for them.
I said to yes, you're right, but also I'm just saying these guys got major money.
Yeah.
I could hand you today $1 billion right now and tell you to go spend it. You die before you can spend it all.
Why?
Because you can't spend it all. You couldn't. If you went out there and just spent, you couldn't spend $1 billion in your lifetime.
I think somebody can relatively easily.
You could buy
It depends-
companies
it
and
depends
start
on how big
making
of a
money
yacht you want.
and
It depends on how
manipulating
big